God, this don't make no sense. I promise you, I need to give up this whole little fan duel thing. It just doesn't work for me. Somebody always messes up. And I know you saying, oh, you shouldn't be gambling. Look, I'm not really gambling because I'm not chancing anything. I'm not losing anything. This is all stuff that I earn. It just makes the game more interesting to watch because the NBA is so boring. But I'm tend to be losing a lot on FanDuel. But anyway, I know you guys probably are sleeping, but I had to get to this because if I don't, it's going to be to next Monday and everything's going to be died. And everybody, you guys don't want to talk about it beyond then. So I'm going to jump on in and do it tonight. And then I'm just going to leave it up and let you guys ponder about what I said tonight. But it's going to be one. I rushed in from service to actually do this live. And I'm going to do this live really, 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 really quick. And then I'm going to eat. That's what I'm going to do. But anyway, first things first. Over the weekend, everybody had this no kings rally, no king protest, whatever. We don't have a king in this country, I guess. I guess we don't. I mean, it's hard to tell these days. But your president decided to leave something that I thought was probably the most grotesque thing I've ever seen. And it's amazing that somebody that's 79 years old would leave something this crazy, but he decided to do it. As you can see, he's in a plane flying. But check this out. He literally dumps piles of manure on people who were protesting. This is what he does. Now, man, this is the president of the United States posting an AI video of him flying a plane with the crown on, flying a plane and dumping piles of dookie on American citizens. Now, a few years ago when Hillary Clinton ran, she said they were a group of deplorables. She didn't say all Republicans. She said the maggots. And they had a hissy fit. But here, the president is dumping piles of dookie on people, and nobody is saying anything. I think this is disgusting. I think this is crazy. Let me know if you guys can hear me. I hate to be doing all this talking and y'all not hearing me. I think it's okay. I'm going to check it on my end too. Because, yeah, I don't want this show to be struggle streaming, and I want to make sure that we are good. I think we're good. Lord. Let me make sure. Just want to make sure you guys can hear me. I don't want to move on with the show and then you guys like, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Make sure. All right, we're good. We're good. We can hear you. Okay, great. Thank you so much. You should be practicing. You got you got stuff to practice for. You should be practicing. Okay. Thanks, babe. All right. Let's move on with the show. All right, I know you guys are here to see me go in on a certain somebody. We gonna get there, but first things first. I think in this time we need to be mindful of so many things that's changing in church. You know, we got different things, we got different philosophies, different things. We got people who are introducing African spiritualism in with Christianity. I don't know how that's gonna mesh. You know, for me, that's a little bit too much, but nevertheless, we got people doing that. But do you think we are ready? Oh, do you think we are ready for this? Okay, so some of you probably wondering, okay, D, what's going on? What did I see here? The director right there was a man, a transgender, directing the choir. Now, this looks like this was at the jazz festival. I played this festival. This looks like the stage that they had for the gospel set, you know, the New Orleans Jazz Festival. They have many tents. I don't know if you guys ever been, but it's like the blues tent, the jazz tent, the R&B tent. It's like huge. And the gospel tent, this is what it looks like. I think this is what this was. But they had a transgender director. Do you think that the church is ready for this? Me personally, I don't think so because we're still struggling with women preachers, women pastors, and women bishops. So I definitely don't think we're ready over here as far as the Pentecostals. I don't think we're ready for that. I don't think that's ever going to happen. Now, you can debate this is not here. I'm not here for all the debate if that's a real man or whatever. You guys, if you've been watching me, you know where I stand on that. My question is, do you think the church is ready for that? I really don't think so, but that was crazy to see. Now, I wasn't there. I don't think we were there. We probably was in a hotel or whatever, probably eating, enjoying New Orleans before we went down in our rides to prepare to perform. But yeah, this was crazy, but not as crazy as this.
The Supreme Court may make a decision, but the Supreme Court can't stop me from going to heaven. All right. The Supreme Court can't stop you from going to heaven. All right. They may tell you, don't play in the public place.
I'm trying to figure out how Omar, how did that bird end up in the drums in the first place? Like, do they keep the doors open when service is not going on? How does a bird end up in the kick drum? And most importantly, did he or she or whatever, however birds, you know, do their thing, were there eggs in that thing, in that drums? Because that was crazy. The bird literally flew out. I don't know if it, Jeremiah said, wait, huh? Dude, there literally was a bird in the kick drum. I never thought I'd ever see that. But you in church as long as I have, you're going to see some of everything. You're going to see some of everything. And you're going to see people say some of everything. And I think we're headed toward, somebody's going to end up saying something to one of these people that's getting in the mic and saying something wild. We're getting to your boy. We're definitely getting there. But anyway, I want you guys to check this out. Okay, now I don't have perfect pitch, but for me, it seemed like she was in B flat. Like you see, I pulled out Vader. Vader is here. I call this Darth Vader. This bass is probably But I picked it up and I was like, it seemed like he was in B flat. What key were they in? Like they were all over the place. I'm like, bro, what? Oh no, don't do that. I need you. I was like, bro, what's going on here? Like, and so people like that, what do you say? Do you pull the choir director up and say, hey, yo, y'all was in the wrong key? Or do you just get up and clap? See, that's the thing in church. And I'm sorry, I got to say this. I'm not trying to be mean, but we do sometimes have this whosoever will come mentality as it relates to singers. But then with the musicians, especially in the bigger churches, you want the elite of the elite. Why we can't exercise that same thing across the board? You want that same level of excellence in the people that's in the mic singing. Now, I don't know these people. This is not a, indictment on them, but I'm just saying I've seen this so many times where you go to a church and you hear them singing, you like, but the musicians are blazing, but the singing is not necessarily on the same level. I think we should exercise that same thing. Don't have a whosoever will come with the choir, but you don't want to do that for the band. I understand they saying, oh, the band is paid, but still, I think excellence is excellence. And I think there are a lot of singers that sit in the audience that don't sing. Now, that part is true. But I think in this instance, I believe in excellence across the board. I do. That's what I believe. I think the singers should be top-notch, and I think the musicians should be top-notch. Now, let me go back. Just because a musician is getting paid don't mean that they can play too. I know some musicians that can't carry a tune to save their life and they're getting paid. And I know some musicians, especially when you start coming over to the Church of God in Christ, where I was born and raised, none of us got paid like that on a Sunday. If we got paid, it was during a convocation. That was probably an offering they raised during the Midnight Musical. And I think the most I've ever gotten from that was like probably $50. $50. That was the most I ever got playing my entire young career in Kojic. For the first 18 years plus of my life, I was Kojic and didn't get a dime from the church that I played at. But we had a great staff. So it's not about that. I just think it should be an excellence. It should be excellence across the board. That's what I think. But anyway, let's move on. I want you guys to check this out. We'll talk about it on the other side, if it'll play.
It's some of the same people here asking the same dumb question. I didn't take your money. I don't need your money. You never gave me a salary anyway. So shut the hell up about the money. You don't like it? That door swing twice. Get the hell up out of here. And I'm not going to have a church meeting about it. 3 years ago, we sold the building, got you out of over $3 million worth of debt, and you still asking that same dumb question where the money at? You ain't got no money in here.
So, it seemed like we're going at Marvin, and this video seemed to have creeped under and gotten through, and nobody brought it up. I think this is probably the first time some of you seen it. And this was sent to me by a friend that supports this show, and I love him for that. But this is crazy. Whenever you to the point where you telling people to shut the up while you preaching, that's not necessarily something you should be doing. It's inappropriate. Now, I'm not one of those people that say if you cuss, you going to hell. If that's what you're being taught, that's you, and God bless you. I'm not necessarily one of those people. I believe it's inappropriate to use that type of language. Like when you at home and you losing money like I am on this dang FanDuel, you be like, you time about. But some people, they think that that's cursing. I can't see that. It's not in the Bible, but it is inappropriate. That's the proper word, inappropriate. But you got to remember, now I'm going somewhere and I'm going to come back. Over here, the same cuss words you can say over here, you could probably say somewhere else and they don't think nothing of it. But there's some words that we wouldn't deem to be a cuss word over here in the United States that if you say over, like say for instance in the UK or in Australia, they will light you up for. So, yeah, give or take. Some words just inappropriate. You just don't say them. And I just think that in this case, you shouldn't be saying those types of things in church, period. It's just certain things you shouldn't say. And the way he went about it was wrong. Somebody need to start checking these people because they getting out of control, saying whatever they want in the mic, which brings me to this.
I, Roberta McCoy, given faith and stand in unity with the vision of perfecting church of sowing this seed of $1,000 plus $235 and receiving the blessings to come to all that participated.
Now that's only $1,200.
Yes.
Y'all not listening to what I'm saying. If you have 1,000 plus 1,000.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna work on the other 800.
Well, that ain't what I asked you to do.
Now, here we are. This is the video that circulated and had us, yet again, as church people, debating and talking about it. I left my 2 cents on my page, but I saw people still talking about it, which brings me to this. Stop calling people names because they don't agree with you. Don't tell people to shut up unless you're ready to pull up. If you using words like shut up and y'all stupid and you this, then you need to be ready to pull up or be ready to be pulled up on. Those are languages you should not use because somebody does not agree with you. There are some people that think this is harsh. There are some people that think that this is inappropriate. And there are some people that think that this was okay because you're so used to it. And I'm going to get on you in a minute. But when you get to the point where you start calling people names and you start telling them what to do and what to say, just shut up and leave it alone. And y'all y'all acting like children. That's what children do. When they don't want to hear the other side, nah, 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 la, 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 I don't want to hear you. I don't want to hear you. That's what children do. Adults, they are able to take somebody who has a different opinion from them and maybe have a dialogue or not. But to call people names and tell them to shut up, come on, man, grow up. Grow up. That's just too much. Now, let me tell you what I saw here. Looking at this video, I think I need to give you a history lesson. Like I said, I grew up Kojic. I'm 3rd generation Kojic, half of a century. Okay? So I've been around this thing a long time, but I never, ever, ever understood why they actually go down the list of people and say, if you got $1,000, get in line. So 1,000 people get up in the line and they show, oh, I made 1,000, I paid 1,000. I remember one time I was in AIM and they was just so happy to be telling everybody what they giving, that boastful thing. I'm giving 2,000, I'm giving 3,000, I'm giving 4,000. Why we still do that? That was done when I was coming up. We talking 80s and 90s. Why are we still in 2025 and people still out here saying, I'm giving this and I'm giving that and going down the line, who has $100, stand up in line. We don't need to do that anymore. We got Tap to Pay now. We got Apple Pay. We got Cash App, or however your church take money, Venmo, whatever. However this currency is being collected, you don't have to get in line no more. And I even got people now that say, hey, even if you gave online, come around, tap your phone on the basket. This is where we are in 2025. You could be critiqued on this. I still don't understand that. That's number one. Number two, people are saying you need to see the whole thing in context. You need to see the whole thing in context. Where did you people go to school? I'm not calling your name. I'm just wondering, where did you go to school? Because you are supposed to be able to look at something and decipher something like this. I didn't need to see the whole video to understand the context. I knew she had done wrong. Me being in church like I have, I already knew that this was probably a situation like a Juanita Bynum situation that I'm going to tell you about, where they said, this is what, get in line if you got this, get in line if you got this. Or he probably went down in increments. I get that. It still does not change the fact that this lady was put on blast and not in front of a full church, as well as the many people watching online, which is the biggest issue. Why are we still doing church business that's for that church online? Turn the camera off. It's really just that simple. Just turn the camera off. Then you won't have these issues. People are talking about it because we who are not members saw this, and we should not have seen this. It should have been for church members only, because only they can say, oh, he was playing, he wasn't serious, and I don't care what you say, because if you did that to my mama, we gonna have a problem. Now, was she wrong? Yes. If the man said, this is the line for whatever, this is this, and then you gave it, you did, and she was happy about it. I'm giving $1,200, whatever, $1,200 something dollars. That's fine. Let me help you, because you are being recorded, and because you're supposed to exercise a level of grace. You could have just said, okay. But next time, where were you when we were saying this is what it's supposed to be? Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. Why? Because they are giving, I don't know if y'all know this, but $1,000 is a lot of money for some people. And if I'm giving you my hard-earned money, you mean to tell me, just hear me out, that you reserve the right to rebuke me in front of everybody? That's not cool. I don't care if y'all said it's a joke, and that's the problem with us as Pentecostal, charismatic, whatever churches. We are so used to being abused that we are numb to it, that we don't even know it's abuse. We are numb to abuse. And that is sad, because you so numb to it that you think this is okay. Oh, it's nothing. Because you numb to abuse. You used to our leaders treating you like you are less than while taking your money. Look, if you are raising it for a good cause, good, because maybe they raising it so they can finally finish that church that's been being built for 22 years. So finally, we're going to finish this church if y'all give this money. Hopefully y'all giving it so y'all can get that building fixed, because it's 22 years and you still ain't done. Y'all ain't stepped one foot and shouted in that building yet in 22 years. So I hope that's what this is for, and that's great. But at the very end of it all, that is still an open rebuke in front of everybody. And y'all can laugh it off because it's not you, but abuse is abuse. So I remember, now I wasn't at the service, but I trust the person who told me with my life. I really do. For a host of reasons. Don't question it. I trust her. A friend of mine who's no longer with us, God rest his soul, got in line when Juanita Bynum called for a certain amount. And she was selling prophecies. There's no other way. I'm direct over here because that's exactly what it is. If somebody's giving you money and then right after they give you money, then you prophesy to them, that's a selling prophecy. I don't necessarily, I'm not going to, you know what? I'm not going to excoriate that right now, but that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. Point blank, period. So he got rebuked in front of everybody for giving a different amount than what she called for. And y'all can say, well, you follow instructions. The Bible is clear. You give what God has placed in your heart to give. Nowhere in the Bible does it tell us to have lines and say, have $100, have $200, the $300 people. Nowhere. In fact, the Bible actually tells you you're not even supposed to let people know what you're giving. You're just supposed to just give. Because that's what the heathens do. They want to be seen. They want to be worshiped because how much they giving. I can give 3,000. That's what the Bible said you're not supposed to do. But we just throw out about I guess that's the other scripture we just throw out. It don't mean nothing to me. No, this is what it is. That's what we do. And that's the problem. Because the Bible didn't tell you everybody get in line and pay this money and we're going to run down the line and see who giving what. Never told you to do that. What do you say? That's quiet elephant in the room. He was absolutely wrong. But she was wrong too because she didn't follow instructions. But he was wrong because as the leader, you have to exhibit the grace that you would want, that you needed when you have your mishaps. When you say things that's not biblical, when you teach something that's not biblically accurate, where's the video of that? In fact, where is the video of you telling your people, I bet you that wasn't online, where you telling your people why this church ain't open in 22 years? I bet you that video, you can't find it nowhere. You're not going to find that video anywhere. Why? Because that's you being held accountable in private. But when it's somebody all the time for us, this abuse thing, we get it in front of everybody, including the millions and millions of people watching it online. That's what we get. And I don't think that that's right. And like I said, some of you, you've been so used to it. You're so used to people saying whatever they want to you in the mic that you don't even know. You're so used to seeing it. I've seen it. And you just numb. We are numb to abuse. That's why we become abusers and don't know we are abusing because we're so used to seeing it. It's our normal everyday thing. So we abuse people because we think it's okay. And then we say, toughen up and take it. No, sir, that's abuse. We shouldn't have to toughen up and take abuse. That's exactly what that is. And some of you don't know the difference between rebuke, reproving, and correcting. Luckily, I got your back. I got your back. Here's the difference. Correction. The tone and delivery is different. It's warm, it's patient, like a teacher guiding a student. Example, let me show you a better way to handle that. It's supposed to teach, realign. So some of you say correction, and that's not correction. That's rebuke. Reproof, tone delivery, direct, but still caring. That wasn't right. You need to fix that attitude. Bring awareness, helps the person to reflect and change. That's reproof. Rebuke is the tone and delivery is strong, authoritative, full conviction. Stop that right now. That's unacceptable. That's rebuke. Now, what we saw here, was this reproof? Was this correction? Or was this rebuke? And the problem that I'm having with some of us in our church, we lump them all together, but it's still rebuke, but we lump them all together because we don't know the difference between the three. Because all we've ever seen is rebuke, 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 but we never really see the other two. So now when somebody says reprove, we think this rebuke is reproof, and it's not. We think this rebuke is correction, but it's not. It is rebuke. In our churches, it's abuse. And we just suffocate it. We just let it just, we're going to hold it down. No, that's just the way he is. That's just the way he is. You need to take correction. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kenny. And that's exactly what this was. And some of you, I wonder about you. I love you, but I wonder about you. Because had this been Woodrow Wilson Missionary Baptist Church of the Latter-day Saints in Chicago on the corner of 103rd and Austin, some no-name preacher, and I posted it on this show, you be up in arms, ready to go. But because it's somebody that's a well-known person, you willing to give them a pass. No, I don't give him a pass. I'm not ready to throw him to the wolves. Of course not. I still admire what he's doing, but they're not above somebody saying, hey, that's not cool. None of us are pure white. None of us are perfect. We all know this. The only difference is we're held to a higher standard than our leaders, and that's not fair. We are called to the carpet when we do something bad. We are held accountable. But when our leaders exhibit or demonstrate something that's contrary to what they should be demonstrating as a leader, and we call it out, now we're the bad guys. You shouldn't say that. You shouldn't talk about them. I'm not tossing them to hell. I'm bringing awareness to an issue, and hopefully in the way that they can probably say, hey, you know what, that's right. You know what, yeah, I'm gonna watch that next time. I'm gonna make sure at the bare minimum, I'm cutting the cameras off. And that's my statement on this whole Marvin. Now, I don't like the fact that, like I said, I feel as adults, we should be able to talk about these things without calling each other names. I think we should, not be at each other's throat because we don't agree on stuff like this. I hate to see that with us, but it seems to be the norm. And I do hate to see the fact that a lot of us are numb to abuse. But I'm going to call it out over here. If it's abuse, it's abuse. And I wish that we could actually see this thing and be able to go to them and be like, hey, yo, that's somebody's mom. That's somebody's aunt. I know people say it was a joke and everything. I saw the other videos. I didn't need to, though. I think I wasted my time watching them. I picked up what happened on this in this clip. People say, oh, it was just a clip and it looked so bad because the clip and it looked so bad and it looked so bad and I didn't know. No need. I see very clearly what happened in this whole thing. I see very clearly. And I think some of you who have discernment, you see it too. You see it too. Yeah. So enough with that. Now I do want to, this show is actually about to be over. Give me like 10 minutes. I saw something else that was happening over this past week. Brandy had a concert and it was in Chicago. I don't know, where was that concert at? I didn't go, obviously. Where was that concert at? Was it at United Center? I want to know where that concert was. First of all, shout out to Rexel. He worked on this thing. From what I understand, he might have done the tracking or whatever to it. Shout out to him, man. The dude is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And I remember he was probably, him and Ferris Evans was the first people that I saw use the MPC 2000 XL, and they were masterful. Probably the best I ever seen. I learned so much from both of them doing drum programming. And so when I was tasked to do it for a couple of records, especially like for Ricky, I remembered the stuff that I watched Rexel do, and I remember the stuff that Ferris actually taught me. And I give them all the props. They're major dope producers. And Rexel is probably one of my favorites, especially when it comes to programming, arranging, and drum programming. So I want to give him his just due, for what he was able to do. And one of the things that people were saying is they wish it was a live band. Me personally, as a musician, I'm always up for a live band. I am. But I don't think they were really, I think people were taking them saying they wanted a live band with them being upset that there was no live band. I think those two things are different. You can want something, have a preference, but not be mad. Now, some of you that were there were some that were upset about it, but I don't know why you were upset there was no live band because no offense, sir, no offense, ma'am, but you most likely was not going to get the call. So being upset, kind of pushing it, you kind of pushing it. I think the ones that could have gotten a call, they were okay with it. They moved on to the next tour, the next gig or whatever. But some of you were very, very, kind of disrespectful because it still took a lot of work for Rexel to put that stuff together. And it was a musician that actually put that stuff together. So technically speaking, some musician got work. They just didn't do the tour. And if you know anything about insolvency, you would probably understand why they didn't do the tour, why musicians are not on the tour. And there are major tours that are happening or going to happen, and they're going to have tracks. This is the reality you have to get used to. And I'm thinking, and I was having a discussion with the wifey about it. We got to we got to prepare for that. And there are ways that I won't share with you. I'm not going to give my pearls, but there are ways that we could prepare ourselves for what's going to happen, because eventually there will be a time when you will be totally replaced and it's coming. Deep down inside, we know that's coming. But you got to position yourself to be ready for that next wave, especially for my younger musician. You got to position yourself. How do you do that? You're going to have to pay me for that information. Because that involves something that I went to school for, and I'm not giving that away for free. I love you. I'll show you some chops or whatever. You can show me some chops, but that tidbit I'm not going to give to you. But anyway, I have a greater appreciation for sound now that some of my friends, my constituents, they moved over from musician to sound, and I'm seeing some things and I'm understanding some things. And I understand the preparation it takes to do a concert of that magnitude. I've been in sets where the main artist or whatever literally left the stage because the sound wasn't right. I've been there. I've seen it. Now, my artists, they're going to finish that concert. They just believe in finishing the concert. But I've seen some artists walk off. I've seen some artists go off on sound people. I've seen all of this junk happen. But I think a little grace, and I'm going to tell you why it's a little, should be given to the sound people, because if it was at the United Center, that's a crazy, echoey, big situation. I can kind of understand why that would be difficult for them to get right away. This is why sound check is important. We need to stop, especially in gospel. We be flogging these sound checks. Like, they want you to get up on stage and just do a simple line check. There is a difference between a line check and the sound check. This line check is nowhere near the importance of it, supersedes the importance of a sound check. A sound check is really, really what you should be using to say, okay, this is what it's going to sound like, give or take, when the concert happens. And I think, especially in gospel music, we be flogging that sound check. We be like, oh, you got a line, you got a signal? Yeah. What about you? Yeah. You got a signal? Yeah. All right, let's go. No. A good sound check should be at least 45 minutes to an hour. That's a good sound check if you are on a professional gig. And the gospel music, they rush through those sound checks like it ain't nothing. That junk drives me crazy because you got a lot to do. We using stems just like they doing pop music now. How you gonna sound check all this bass, drums, make sure everybody's ears right, because y'all still using in-ears? And luckily this weekend they had the P16s, but even with that, if you're not doing a good sound check, you can jack that up too. Why are we rushing through these sound checks? I don't know. I went on a tangent, but that's one of my frustrations when I play gospel music. It's like these sound checks for these major gigs be driving me crazy. No way in hell can you finish a good sound check in 10, 15 minutes. That's ridiculous. And anybody that thinks that way, you probably need to go and apply for White Castle or Burger King, because this ain't for you. A sound check is a sound check. A line check could be 10, 15 minutes. Especially if you got stems, you got all this stuff going on. A line check, 10, 15 minutes. But a sound check to make sure that it is right. When we get to the stage, we should be able to run it and just go. Walk up, boom, let's go. Because we're not like pop artists, because these other artists, when my wife goes out, they get them a chance to even do something else. They get like 40 minutes, even though they had a sound check earlier. Why we keep comparing ourselves to the world, and the world do everything better than us. As gospel church musicians, they do everything better than us. We rush through sound checks. They take their time. We rush through this thing and they take their time. Gospel artists, when we get up on the stage, they hurry. Come on, come on, come on. No, let me set up. Because it ain't like you got us like push this stuff off. And then when our set comes, you got stage hands coming, moving our stuff ready to play. That don't happen for us. But anyway, I'm thinking the sound check may not have been perfect. It may not have been right. I mean, that's the only way for something this big that the sound wasn't right. Now, granted, people do soak up some sound and the sound does change depending on, people being there, whatever. But I think that difference is not so much where it's just catastrophically bad. I think it's just, some little nuances here and there. But anyway, Brandy got, she didn't like her sound and she was feeling faint. A lot of people had they say so about it, and y'all like to do it. Y'all like to do it, and y'all gave that woman some criticism that I don't think she deserved. I don't blame her. If she was even 100% well, I don't blame her for walking off that stage when that sound ain't right. Because if she sounds bad, y'all gonna rip her. Shoot, if she sound good, y'all gonna rip her. Y'all some criticizing at home people. I never seen it before. It seemed like the people that do the most criticizing ain't got nothing going on. Ain't got nothing going on. But you criticizing her. She should have walked off because this is her brand. This is her sound. She doesn't get a do-over if she sounds bad. Y'all gonna rip her up. I'm gonna protect my brand at all costs too. That's why I don't take every gig. I don't take every gig. Everybody that called me, everybody, no, I don't take all that gig. I'm not hard up for money like that. I don't take every gig. Why? Because I have a brand to protect. You can't have me on somebody's record sounding bad. The only way I do it is if I know you and I respect your family. But if I don't know you or nothing like that, I just simply cannot do that. I have a brand. I cannot do that. And I respect Brandy. If this is what happened, her doing it, don't feel bad. Don't send no apologies. The sound was bad. It was off. I can't continue. The boy ain't mine. He belongs with somebody else. He ain't mine. He ain't hers either. He's somewhere else off the street because you can't hear me sing. They said they couldn't even hear her in some parts. Now, you can't give a performance like that. You cannot do that. So y'all was giving Brandy grief about that. Now, having said that, this is the other part. As a sound engineer, I'm pretty sure they made a lot of money. You have to get that right real quick because that's why you make the big money. In my opinion, it's just my professional opinion. You have to get that right because there's a lot of money on the line right here. If the artist is walking off, then you failed the assignment. And that's just the long and the short of it. There were people leaving stuff. We always do say stuff. And I love this dude. Probably one of the coolest dude, but I'm about to rip you up right now. Brian, my boy, he did sound for me one time when I had to get with Ricky. That was cool. He said, y'all give Brandy grace. Y'all go to church weekly with bad sound, bad singing, bad preaching, and y'all drop y'all rent money and collection plate and never bash the bad production you sit through weekly. Here's the difference though, Brian. I'm going to make this small so people can still read it when I give it my 2 cents on what you said, bro. Here's the difference. Last I checked, when you come to church, you do have the option to not give. Ain't nobody standing at the door saying you cannot come up in here unless you give me some 400. How much was those tickets? Those tickets probably were really, really expensive. So you give me $400 and you come up in the service, yeah, I'm going to expect everything to be top notch. But if I come in here for free and I'm not really coming here for sound, I'm coming here to worship God, then I'm going to give some grace. But if I'm paying $400 and up to a concert, I expect to see and hear excellence. So I love you, but I don't agree with this premise. And I think it was a horrible analogy because we don't go to church for production. We go to church for worship. We go to Brandy, Beyonce, and all these other Chris Brown and whosoever will come. We go to their concerts assuming R. Kelly get out from a pardon. We go to his concert. Y'all shouldn't. He's a pedo, but y'all love pedos. Some of y'all, especially y'all musicians, y'all love pedals. I believe a lot of you are pedals, but that's beside the point. That's beside the point. I got a couple in my mind right now that I'm looking side-eye at, but that's beside the point. You don't come to church for production. You don't come to church to be entertained. You come to church for worship. That includes you. Nobody's worshiping at a Brandy concert. We are there to be entertained. We are there to see a performance. And if that performance is subpar, vis-a-vis, the sound ain't right, then we have the right to complain. And that's what happened with a lot of people. So, Brian, I love you, but I can't get with that. That's not cool. I mean, it's not accurate, in my opinion. It's not an accurate analogy. But anyway, that's what I have to say about all of this. See, it was a quick show. 46 minutes, probably the shortest show I ever did. Leave your comments below. I will be live Monday. I will absolutely be live Monday because it was something I was supposed to do a long time ago. Got wrapped up, life happened, and then these gigs, look, your boy needs some sleep. I've been running. I don't like to do all this running. I love playing though. I do. I love playing bass. I might play a little bit tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, I got to go over these songs that I don't know. But I will be live Monday. But I couldn't, I didn't want this to wait till Monday. And I definitely didn't want to wait beyond a week when everybody's tired of talking about it. I needed to get this off my chest. And I wanted you guys to hear what I had to say. As far as the abuse thing, it is abuse, y'all. A lot of us suffer through that. And I'm starting to understand why therapy is important. I'm really young because a lot of us, we've endured a lot of stuff in church that somebody has not pinpointed and showed us what it was. Now that I know what it is, I got a keen sense for seeing abuse and manipulation. And it's like when I see it, I can recognize it. And like I said, it's sad that some of us, we don't see it or we used to it. And no, you should never develop tough skin. That's like telling a woman to develop tough skin while her husband beating the hell out of her. No, that's abuse. That's like a man being told to have tough skin while his wife breaks him down every time she can with her mouth. Pause. In the bad way, by the way. Abuse is abuse. And I think we should really, really recognize that. But I do love everybody. I love Pastor Winans. I'm a big fan of his work. Always, he's a legend and everything else. But he's human just like the rest of us. He's going to make errors. He's going to do stuff. And I will give him that level of grace. I'm not ready to throw him in the belly of hell. This one is just something that was too much, okay? But I love you guys. I'm going to jump off of here, have some dinner, and go to sleep tonight. I love everybody. And I'll see you Monday. If I can end this stream.